Moving along in the Memches Devarim, tonight's lesson is what's called Be'emunas Chachamim, that a person has to have a strong belief in the Chachamim, in the words that our sages, Chazal and the Chachamim, really of all generations, what they say. And the Tiferes Yisrael says on these words, very interesting, very apropos for our generation, Eino imamin l'kol davar sheshameya. Do not believe everything that you hear. Why? Because it says in Mishlei, Mishlei says, Pesi yamin l'kol davar, a fool believes everything that he hears. A fool goes on to CNN, he believes what CNN says. Then he listens to Fox News, he believes Fox News. Then he reads the LA Times, he believes what it says over there. Then he reads the New York Times and the Wall Street Post, he believes over there. Then he's standing in line at the store and he hears somebody talking about the world and this and that, and you should do this and do that. He believes them as well. That's called a fool. A person who believes anything that he hears in his ears. We live in a world of opinions. We live in a world of dimyonos, of what? What's the word? Of deception. We live in a world of foolishness. And you're going to listen to everything you say. We live in a world of fake news. Even the news that they say is real news is fake news. There's nothing that's real in this world. Says the Tiferes Yisrael, don't believe everything that you hear. Because there's so much falsehood that is in the world. If you're the kind of person that just listens and accepts as what they're hearing as the truth, so you're a pesty, you're a fool. Aval, however, yamin l'chachamim, but to the chachamim, b'chochmas ha'torah, that have the wisdom of Torah behind them, there you have to believe. Afilu lo yasigam b'sichloi, even if you can't understand what they're saying. Even if your mind doesn't reach the depths, and of course it will never reach the depths of the Chachamim, to understand what the Chazal say, what the Torah is saying, what Rabbi Akiva said. You won't understand what your Rebbe said until 40 years. The Gemara says it takes 40 years to be able to understand what your Rebbeim have to say. So the news you can't believe. A book that you pick off the shelf in Barnes & Nobles you can't believe. A documentary that you saw that touched up the whole meaning of life you can't believe. But the Chachamim, Chazal, the Chachamim of our generation, the Gedolei Yisrael, the leaders that the Einei Ha'eda, the eyes of the generation, they already have a chiyuv, you have an obligation to believe. Because they are introducing to us the Hashkafas HaTorah, the way that a Jew is supposed to look here at this world. And the Mefarshim quote famous words of Chazal that say like this. What is Amunas Chachamim? It says like this. We believe that the Chachamim, the Messiah, the transmission of the Torah, the way in which they learn things out from generation to generation. Don't become like the Tzedukim, the Sadducees, I think they say in English. Don't be like them. They didn't believe in the Torah Baal Peh. They didn't believe in the way in which the Chachamim would learn out from one letter, one extra letter in a word that you could darshan halachis and such a thing. They didn't believe in Gzera Shava, that you could put words together from different places and learn out halachis. They didn't believe in such a thing. And therefore they didn't understand what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. And so the Amunas Chachamim is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu by Har Sinai gave over Torah Shebiksav, and he gave over Torah Shebaal Peh, the oral Torah as well, and he invested Klal Yisrael in the mission that we are supposed to keep it sacred, and we pass it down from generation to generation. And then he quotes over here, this is the famous words of Chazal. It says in the Pasuk in Devarim HaTorah sheYerucha, the Torah that they teach you, that they instruct you in, V'al HaMishpat asher yomer lecha, the sages when they tell you something, Taseh, they say, Taseh, Leisasa min adavar, do not turn away from what they say, asher yegidu lecha, that they're telling you, yamin usmo. If the Chachamim tell you to come and do something, and they say, this is what a Jew does, this is how we live our lives, these are the things that we do, don't turn to the right, and don't turn to the left. Chazal say on these words, Afilu ayimim lecha, even if the Chachamim say to you, Ala yamin shu small, your right hand is your left hand. The al small shu yamin, and your left is your right. Or you think that you're going this way, they say no, go that way. You think you're going to go here, they say no, go back that way. You thought you're going to get involved with this, they say no, you're not going to get involved, do this instead. that you have to believe them. If it calls shekain, all the more so. Yamin. If they tell you your right is your right, the small, and your left is your left. They tell you amuna. They tell you bitachon. They tell you learn Torah. They tell you can daven shachris in the morning, shachris in the gemarav. They tell you how to put on tefillin. Of course, a person has to listen to Chachamim because their eyes are in a different place. Their hearts are in a different place. The neshamas are in different places. The Chachamim, the Chazal that we're talking about, and really we have to transfer it down to every generation, the Chachamim of our generation. Talking Stamcha, we're talking Gedolei Yisrael of every generation. You have to believe them. I remember I once got myself into a pickle in a certain situation here in Los Angeles. My Rabbi Horowitz had told me a certain thing I should do, and I didn't listen exactly the way I was supposed to, and I got myself into big trouble. And I'm still paying that price today, 15 years later. So I got into a mess, and I called him to get me out of the mess. And when I called him, he wasn't there. His wife answered the phone. And I said, Rebbe, you know that whenever I listen to your husband, I listen to Rebbe, everything works out fine. If I don't listen to him, it's a total disaster. And she says to me, isn't it scary? Because I'm not the only one. He has thousands and thousands of Talmidim that he says things like this, and you're wondering, why is he telling me to do that? I should do the opposite. But you trust in the Chachamim because they understand, they know exactly what it is that's going to say. Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky, that many times he would say shocking things to people that came out of left field. And they asked him, how do you know to say such things? He said, I don't. I open my mouth, and whatever words HaKadosh Baruch Hu puts into my mouth, those are the words that I say. We can't trust that the words that come out of our mouth are the words of the Devar Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But when you are on that madrega, when you are on that level, that's the person that you are. So then the words of these Chachamim, of these sages that we are describing, you have to be a Maimon. So in order to be Mekabel Torah, Torah is not just a Chumash. Torah is way beyond the Chumash. Even if you look in the Chumash, it's broad strokes of the mitzvahs. The Torah Shabbat Peh gives you all the details. If you don't believe in the Chachamim, how will you do a single mitzvah? How will you put on tefillin in the morning? How will you know to wear yarmulke every single day? How will you know to be ehrlich in your business? How will you know? Only because we have Chachamim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu entrusted them to bring us close to the Torah, and if we do that, Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach, so we will be kaineh. We'll make our kinyanim, our acquisition of the Torah, as we are moving closer and closer towards Har Sinai.